Okay, let's unpack this. Because if you are, anything like me, you are probably highly engaged with tracking your health metrics.
Right, checking the stats every morning.
Exactly. You already have the smartwatches, the sleep rings, the apps that parse your daily movement data, uh, probably before you have even poured your morning coffee.
Oh, absolutely. It's an ingrained habit for a lot of people now.
Yeah. But today we are taking a deep dive into a stack of sources that completely shifts the framework of how we approach personal wellness tech. We are analyzing the mechanics and the implications of a new device called the Prysm IO.
It is a massive shift, yeah.
And for this deep dive, we're pulling from a really comprehensive set of materials. The main one is this fascinating PDF called the Antioxidant Scanner Supplement Brief.
Plus, we have clinical research documents to back that up.
Right, and historical timelines charting the 20-year evolution of this scanner technology and some highly detailed user testimonials.
The scope of the documentation we're reviewing is substantial, especially when you synthesize the clinical data with the actual tech advancements.
So the mission for our deep dive today is to extract exactly how this new Prysm IO system operates, and more crucially, to explore how it initiates a paradigm shift in personal health tracking.
Making internal nutrition objectively measurable.
Yes, moving you out of the realm of estimation and into the realm of empirical data.
Yeah.
That transition from guessing about your baseline health to actually having quantifiable proof, that could be the ultimate game changer for daily preventative wellness.
That transition is really the core of what makes these sources so compelling.
Because right now, the landscape of consumer health tech is heavily skewed toward tracking behavior.
Strictly behavioral.
You check your preferred wearable and you get a log of your physical output. 3 miles run, 7 hours of sleep, a resting heart rate of 60.
And those behavioral metrics are highly valuable for understanding the demands you place on your body.
For sure. But the Prysm IO introduces a completely different axis of measurement. Instead of tracking your behavioral output, it tracks your biochemistry.
Moving from behavioral tracking to biochemical tracking represents a shift from monitoring the outside of the body to monitoring the internal environment.
Which is wild.
Right. And the Prysm IO itself is this compact, pocket-sized device engineered to scan the skin, specifically targeting the pad of your finger, to measure the concentration of carotenoids.
Now, since our audience is generally well-versed in the basics of preventative health, we know that carotenoids act as a proxy for our broader antioxidant network.
Of phytonutrients.
Exactly. The stuff responsible for the vibrant pigments in vegetables like carrots, tomatoes, spinach. And the biological mechanism that makes this tech viable is the fact that these carotenoids physically accumulate in the skin tissue over time.
That tissue accumulation is the foundational biological principle enabling this entire technological category.
It gives us a window in.
Right. Carotenoids serve as a highly reliable objective biomarker of a person's overall antioxidant intake. Because they deposit into the skin layers, they offer a completely non-invasive window into the body's cellular protection against oxidative stress.
Which is huge.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, measuring this specific biomarker provides a direct reflection of actual nutritional status and the robustness of the body's cellular defense network.
So it moves the conversation past simply logging the miles you ran.
Exactly. It opens up a dialogue about how efficiently your body is protecting itself on a microscopic level during that physical exertion.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The contrast between the frictionless user experience and the sheer density of the engineering operating beneath the surface.
It's almost deceptive how simple it looks.
Right. From a user perspective, the process is almost overly simplified. You wipe your finger with a standard alcohol swab, place the pad of your pointer finger over the optical lens of this tiny device, and wait approximately 15 seconds.
That is the entire user interaction.
Just 15 seconds. But the clinical research documents detail an incredibly sophisticated sequence of events occurring inside that hardware during that short window.
It functions as a masterclass in concealing complexity.
Yeah, break down what's actually happening in there.
So during that brief 15-second window, the Prysm IO is executing a highly complex optical analysis utilizing a proprietary system called patent-pending spectral ray technology.
Spectral ray.
Right. To truly grasp the speed and the measurement complexity of this new system, we have to look closely at the optical hardware specs outlined in the documentation.
The LEDs.
Yes, the device relies on 5 distinct colored LED wavelengths, and then that is supplemented by a highly specialized proprietary 6th wavelength.
And they aren't just shining a light on you?
No, these diodes are not merely firing a static beam. They are pulsing thousands of times per second directly into the skin tissue.
The technical specs note that the device is capturing over 200,000 hyperspectral absorption measurements in that single 15-second scan.
In 15 seconds.
That volume of optical data collection is staggering for a consumer-facing device.
It is.
And the mechanism capturing that data relies on 2 separate photodiodes. From an engineering standpoint, how is the device isolating the specific carotenoid biomarker from that massive influx of data?
The dual photodiode architecture is key to the absorption calculation.
Okay.
One photodiode is calibrated to measure the exact intensity of the light being emitted into the skin tissue.
So the light going in.
Exactly. While the second photodiode is strictly measuring the light that reflects back to the sensor.
The light coming out.
Right. A specific spectrum of that emitted light is absorbed by the carotenoid molecules present in the skin, meaning the reflected light will have a measurable deficit.
So what's missing is what the carotenoids absorbed.
Precisely. By calculating the exact differential between the emitted light and the reflected light, the hardware determines the absorption rate.
That's brilliant.
But the hardware is only half of the equation.
The software.
Yeah, the raw optical data is immediately routed through a highly advanced AI and machine learning algorithm. The software instantly processes those hundreds of thousands of data points to filter out biological noise and generate a personalized, validated score.
And to fully appreciate how an AI model can process 200,000 data points in seconds and output a clinically valid health metric, the historical timelines provided in our sources are essential reading.
It didn't happen overnight.
Not at all. The capability of the Prysm IO software did not materialize in a vacuum. It is the result of a 20-year iterative process. Looking at the first generation, the S1 release back in 2003, paints a very different picture of this tech.
The S1 relied on a completely different core technology known as resonant Raman spectroscopy.
Which is highly accurate, right?
Very accurate, but the hardware required to perform a non-invasive Raman scan in 2003 was immense. The initial units were roughly the size of a small room.
A whole room.
Yeah, before being iteratively miniaturized down to the size of a large commercial toaster, it was a notoriously heavy and temperamental piece of clinical equipment.
And the user experience was terrible.
The operational friction was incredibly high. The documentation notes it required a full 30-minute warm-up and calibration sequence.
30 minutes just to turn it on.
Followed by a 3-minute continuous scan on the palm of the subject's hand, just to yield a single measurement.
Yeah, a 30-minute calibration phase makes it nearly impossible to deploy at scale in a modern, fast-paced wellness setting. You can't just throw that in your gym bag.
Not at all.
But the timeline shows a steady commitment to refining the form factor. By 2006, the engineering teams released the S2 generation. They successfully shrank the physical footprint and reduced the scanning duration down to 90 seconds.
Still Raman spectroscopy, but much more manageable.
And the historical documents include an amazing stress test anecdote regarding the S2. In 2009, they commissioned an Everest edition of the scanner.
I love this story.
Elite Sherpas actually carried the heavy hardware all the way up to Mount Everest Base Camp, sitting at 17,000 feet of elevation.
Which is no small feat.
Right. The objective was to utilize the scanner to track how the extreme oxidative stress of high-altitude mountaineering actively depleted the climber's internal carotenoid levels.
Deploying optical spectroscopy equipment in that kind of harsh environment was a brilliant method of validating the technology's durability and clinical utility.
It proved it worked outside a pristine lab.
Exactly. It demonstrated that the biomarker was highly responsive to environmental stressors in real time.
And then following that, the timeline brings us to 2013 with the introduction of the S3 generation.
The S3 further streamlined the hardware, integrated the user interface with an external iPad, and reduced the scan time on the palm down to 30 seconds.
And that one used a scoring scale that ranged from 0 up to 100,000.
Right.
Which perfectly sets the stage for the massive architectural leap forward represented by the Prysm IO. The hardware evolution from a room-sized spectrometer to a palm-scanning iPad accessory is impressive, but the jump to the Prysm IO is a fundamental change in how the measurement is calculated.
It is a total paradigm shift.
We are looking at a shift from heavy optical hardware doing the heavy lifting to advanced software algorithms taking over. But the software is only as good as its training data. How does the Prysm IO maintain the scientific validity of a physical Raman spectrometer using just LEDs and a smartphone processor?
The bridge between the old hardware and the new software is the historical data itself.
The old scans.
Right. The artificial intelligence powering the Prysm IO was not trained on synthetic models. It was trained on a proprietary database containing over 26 million individual Raman scans collected globally over the preceding 2 decades.
26 million real-world scans.
That massive repository of biological data is the crucial differentiator. By mapping the new hyperspectral LED readings against millions of validated Raman spectroscopy profiles, the algorithm can accurately correlate the optical reflection data to the established biological markers.
That is fascinating.
This reliance on the database allows the new device to achieve total portability without sacrificing the rigorous scientific validity established by the older, bulkier generations.
And along with the shift to AI processing, the sources highlight a significant update to the user experience and the scoring metrics themselves.
They overhauled the scale.
Right. The Prysm IO abandons the cumbersome 0 to 100,000 scale of the S3 in favor of a much more refined, intuitive scale, ranging from 0 to 1,500.
Much easier to digest.
Furthermore, the hardware no longer requires a dedicated iPad. It integrates seamlessly with a digital wellness application directly on your smartphone. The output is no longer just a static number on a screen.
It becomes actionable.
The app leverages the scan data to provide actionable lifestyle coaching, transforming a raw clinical metric into a personalized daily health strategy.
Integrating the metric into a digital coaching platform resolves a major bottleneck in preventative health. It takes clinical-grade insights and makes them not only accessible, but actionable for the average person.
Because data without context is just noise.
Exactly. However, to truly contextualize the value of this targeted coaching, we need to contrast it with the ecosystem of health technology that most people are currently immersed in.
Let's look at the standard suite of consumer wearables, the Apple Watch, the Fitbit, the Oura Ring. As we touched on earlier, these are incredible feats of engineering.
They absolutely are.
They meticulously map sleep architecture, monitor heart rate variability, and track daily activity levels. But all of these devices are essentially functioning as advanced pedometers and heart monitors. They are logging the physical output and the systemic stress placed on your body.
They are strictly behavioral.
Exactly.
This raises an important question. If your suite of wearables is dedicated to telling you the precise amount of energy you are expending, what device is telling you the quality of the raw materials your body has available to recover from that expenditure?
What is quantifying the fuel?
Exactly. What is quantifying the fuel? That is the specific void the Prysm IO fills in the health tech ecosystem. It introduces a completely different dimension of tracking.
Biochemistry.
By measuring biochemical markers directly tied to antioxidant status, it provides an objective, real-time window into how effectively your cellular infrastructure is fortified against oxidative stress.
It is the difference between measuring the demands you place on the system and measuring the resources the system has to meet those demands. So what does this all mean for the user? The antioxidant scanner supplement brief repeatedly centers on the concept of oxidative stress.
The great cellular enemy.
Right. The brief uses a highly effective mental model for this, framing the cellular oxidation process as a form of internal rusting. It is a biological inevitability, but the rate at which it occurs is heavily influenced by our environment and our choices.
Viewing oxidative stress through the lens of internal rusting is a very accurate visualization of the cellular degradation process. As a standard byproduct of mitochondrial energy production, our bodies constantly generate unstable molecules known as free radicals.
Just from living and breathing.
Just from existing. However, the baseline production is aggressively compounded by external environmental factors.
What kind of factors?
The clinical documents list primary sources such as airborne pollution, exposure to UV radiation, poor dietary composition, and even chronic psychological stress.
Stress literally rusts you.
It does. The research indicates that a single cell in the human body can endure upwards of 10,000 distinct free radical attacks every single day.
10,000 attacks per cell. Every day.
It's relentless.
When you scale 10,000 daily attacks across the trillions of cells comprising the human body, the magnitude of that microscopic battle is difficult to overstate.
Which is why defense is critical.
And antioxidants, specifically the carotenoids the Prysm IO isolates, serve as the primary defense network against that cellular degradation. When the antioxidant network is depleted, the free radicals essentially run unchecked.
And the clinical literature clearly links that unchecked oxidative damage to accelerated biological aging and a broad spectrum of chronic health conditions.
Because the stakes of cellular degradation are so high, having a reliable method of measurement becomes vital. We can draw a direct parallel to how the medical community utilizes cholesterol testing.
That's a great analogy.
A physician does not assess your cardiovascular risk by simply looking at your outward physical appearance. They rely on a lipid panel to get an internal objective measurement of your cholesterol levels as a key biomarker.
The scanner technology functions on the exact same principle, but applied to nutritional health. It leverages skin carotenoid concentrations as a validated biomarker for your overall dietary quality and your systemic nutritional wellness.
And the antioxidant scanner supplement brief PDF makes a crucial distinction regarding how this biomarker should be interpreted.
It's not a diagnosis.
Right. A low score on the 0 to 1500 scale of the Prysm IO is not a medical diagnostic. It is not diagnosing a specific pathology or disease state. Instead, the brief classifies it as an objective lifestyle signal.
A signal that something needs to change.
Exactly. A low score serves as a critical indicator that your daily habits are out of balance, whether that stems from a severe lack of protective phytonutrients in your diet or an overwhelmingly high exposure to oxidative stressors like smoking, chronic sleep deprivation, or maintaining a high BMI.
The brief meticulously documents the systematic reviews and meta-analyses that validate this approach. The aggregated clinical data firmly supports spectroscopy-based skin carotenoid measurement as a scientifically validated, non-invasive proxy for fruit and vegetable intake.
Because we lie to ourselves about what we eat.
Oh, human beings are notoriously inaccurate when self-reporting their dietary habits.
Hmm.
In an environment where the quality of our food is variable and adherence to nutritional protocols is inconsistent, possessing an objective tool that cuts through subjective bias is immensely powerful.
Which seamlessly transitions our deep dive into the $300 billion elephant in the room, the global supplement industry.
That is a staggering number.
The brief highlights a massive vulnerability in the consumer wellness market. Millions of people are spending vast sums of money every month on various vitamins and antioxidant formulations, operating almost entirely on blind faith. It is essentially a $300 billion guessing game.
You purchase a product, ingest it, and simply hope your body is successfully breaking it down and utilizing the nutrients.
Exactly.
The lack of empirical feedback is a significant point of friction for both consumers and clinical nutritionists. Bioavailability is a complex biological hurdle.
Just because you swallow it doesn't mean you absorb it.
A consumer can invest in the most premium, highly marketed supplement available, but if their individual digestive tract cannot absorb it, or if the formulation lacks the necessary cofactors for absorption, the product is biologically useless.
Literally flushing money away.
The financial investment is wasted, and more importantly, the intended cellular protection is never achieved. This is exactly where transitioning from guessing to measurable data completely disrupts the established supplement landscape.
And the user testimonials included in our source stack provide a really stark illustration of this exact problem. There is a detailed account from a user named Paige that highlights the critical importance of bioavailability.
Paige's story is incredible.
It really is. Paige had undergone major intestinal surgery, resulting in the removal of a significant portion of her digestive tract. Consequently, her body's natural ability to absorb nutrients was severely compromised.
Which is a huge challenge.
According to the testimonial, she was spending approximately $800 every single month on a complex regimen of vitamins, supplements, and even required regular iron infusions to maintain basic baselines.
$800 a month on blind faith.
Despite this massive financial and logistical investment, when she first scanned herself using the older S3 model, her score registered at 15,000. On the old scale, that placed her deep into the red zone, indicating extremely low cellular protection.
What's fascinating here is how the objective data empowered her to alter her strategy. The scanner provided undeniable proof of non-absorption.
It proved the $800 wasn't working.
Armed with that metric, she entirely overhauled her protocol. She transitioned to highly absorbable, scanner-certified supplements. These are specific formulations engineered and clinically tested to guarantee high bioavailability even in compromised digestive systems.
And the results were measurable.
When she performed a follow-up scan a month later on the scanner, her internal metric had dramatically shifted. Her score elevated to over 38,000 on the legacy scale, moving her completely out of the high-risk red zone and up into the optimal green zone.
The psychological relief of finally having proof that a protocol is working cannot be understated.
Knowing you're actually protected.
That is the fundamental value proposition of the Prysm IO. It provides a tangible, color-coded visual metric, ranging from the red zone indicating severe vulnerability up through orange, yellow, green, blue, and cresting at purple for peak cellular protection.
It takes the abstract concept of internal nutrition and renders it as quantifiable data.
It definitively proves whether your specific dietary choices, your lifestyle modifications, and your financial investments in supplements are actually translating into biological results.
Ultimately, it introduces a necessary layer of accountability to the broader wellness industry. The objective is not merely to chase a high numerical score for the sake of gamification.
Right, it's not a video game.
The objective is to verify that your cellular infrastructure has the resilience required to defend itself against inevitable daily stressors. As the supplement brief points out, this level of visibility dramatically reinforces behavioral adherence.
You stick to the habit because you see the result.
Individuals are significantly more motivated to sustain positive lifestyle changes when they can track objective, measurable improvements in their own biochemistry, rather than relying on generalized, passive nutritional advice.
Bringing this all into focus for your daily routine. Look at the smartwatch on your wrist. It is an exceptionally useful device for understanding the physical demands of your day. How many steps you took, how intensely you exercised, how consistently you slept.
Essential data.
But it is vital to recognize that it is only illuminating one half of the physiological equation. The Prysm IO is the key to unlocking the other half, the exact quality of the nutritional resources your body has to recover and protect itself.
Both technologies are essential pillars of a modern, proactive health strategy.
But they're measuring two completely separate dimensions of your biology, behavior on one side, biochemistry on the other.
They are entirely complementary systems. One continuously monitors the systemic tax you are levying on your body, while the other verifies the exact value of the physiological deposits you are making to offset that tax.
And to wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final, highly provocative concept pulled directly from the concluding sections of the antioxidant scanner supplement brief.
This part is eye-opening.
We have focused heavily on individual choices, but the brief pans out to look at systemic environmental factors. The research highlights an alarming, documented decline in the baseline nutritional quality of modern agriculture.
The soil itself.
Due to aggressive soil depletion and industrial farming practices, the actual nutrient density of the produce we consume has plummeted. A carrot harvested and purchased at a modern grocery store today simply does not contain the same density of phytonutrients as a carrot cultivated 50 years ago.
It is a sobering variable in the nutritional equation. An individual might be strictly adhering to the recommended daily servings of fruits and vegetables, yet the actual protective yield extracted from those modern foods could be falling significantly short of historical baselines.
The raw materials themselves are compromised.
Exactly.
So here's the question we want you to mull over as you optimize your own routines. As the baseline nutrient density of our global food supply continues to demonstrably decline, will actively tracking our internal cellular protection soon transition from a biohacking niche to a daily necessity?
Will utilizing an optical scanner to verify your antioxidant status become just as routine and just as critical for your long-term security as checking your bank account balance?
Given the converging trajectories of advanced health technology and the documented environmental challenges facing our food supply, it is a highly compelling and perhaps inevitable possibility.
It really is.
It certainly reframes the way you look at the produce aisle, the supplement industry, and the health metrics you choose to prioritize. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Prysm IO and the future of biochemical tracking. Keep analyzing your data, keep questioning your baselines, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.